Welcome everybody to Deb's Thing. This is Debbie, and I made this today while I was watching TV. I probably can't even name the show, it's probably against the rules. But you know, that one where a girl has a bunch of guys to pick from and now she's down to two. So I was keeping my hands busy, and I'm calling this In Stitches. Of course, since I just made it today, it won't be on part 1 or 2 of my introduction to my video bracelet collection, but my reference is to II. As you can see, I used a jelly here. I used an opaque here, and it came out, you know, it's a lot more loopy. This one I used, where the red here and the white here, I used the neon orange, and plus it's against other pastel colors. It's hard to see, and probably be interesting to see doing, like if I did, you know, instead of the white, did the red here, what that would look. But I've already made 3 of these, and you know, I'll be making a 4th now for demonstration's sake. So 4 is enough. You will need your loom set up like this, the arrows pointing away from you, just 2 bars. I'm going to switch it up since I've been doing a lot of 4 bars. And for the A color, which I'm using for the extension and going up the sides there, is white. I'm going to be using the deep purple. Up the center, I am going to be using just the regular purple. And then for these, and I don't know how this will work because these are such thick ones, but they're so pretty, and they kind of, you know, blue and pink make purple. So I was thinking of doing this 2-tone blue and rose for C, which is on the edge. So let's get going. And as you know, I do not like when I'm done having to move all the bands over to one side, so I had to figure out how to make this work. So start by placing, my camera kind of angled funny, so it's a little far away. Okay, I'll just have to remember I have to keep my hands way out here. Start there with that, as I was saying, I'm sorry, I got distracted a little. But that is color A. Now, we will be placing the rest of color A as we go up in the square like this, but this one time I want you just to carefully just twist it once. I really don't think it matters which direction. Kind of makes like a stingray shape. But I found by doing this, it works. So the next thing we're going to do is, I hope this looks nice. I hope the colors aren't so close, you know, some similarity, but I do kind of want it a monochromatic, just very, you know, just those shades, but I guess that would be sort of monochromatic, but it's not quite since the pink is in there and the blue, but I guess if you crossed your eyes, it kind of looks purple, right? Okay. So we are going to do this all the way up the loom, put our color A, and then the crisscross all of these in the same direction, left to right, and then right to left. Make the square, you know, keep them pushed down so you have room for the C color band, and then B color from left to right, and then right to left. And you will do this all the way up to the last set of 4 squares, or 4 pins. We are now ready to place our 3rd color, our color C. And beforehand, let's take a look at what the band placement looks like so far. And the C color, super simple. We're just going to go straight up each side. Now these specialty ones kind of get all stuck together. Just straight up each side like that. Just on both sides. And you will do that and stop at this last one. So you'll take your last band from this pin to this pin, and this pin to this pin. And that band placement should have been quick and easy. So all we have now left to do before we start our looping is, of course, the cap. As I said, I'm using color A. I double it onto my hook, slip it over one pin, and then stretch it across the other pin. Okay. So now we will spin it around so that the arrows, of course, are pointing towards us. And just as I set up a little, the first, I'll show you as I get there. Just a couple of little unusual first steps on either end to remedy some issues that came up when I was practicing making this. First, you will reach in and take color C, bring it straight up, and then bring color C straight up. Now we are going to do the crisscrosses of color B. This is the only one, this first one. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my screen to see. It looked blurry for a second, probably my eyes. The only one where you're going to grab the one that's underneath, not this one first, but this one. If you grab the one on top first, at the end, when your bracelet's off, you get two kind of big loopy bands just kind of sticking out, kind of not knowing where they belong. But by crossing them like that, with doing the one underneath first, it tightens them up and prevents that from happening. So then we are going to get the bottom corner of the A square and bring it diagonally. And then on this one, you're going to very carefully lift it up and see how I'm bringing it to the side. And the underneath, the base of it, I'm going to push, right there. I'm pushing it against that and then stretching it out over. So it makes a nice even look on both sides. And that's the only time that will look like that. From here on up to the end, this is how each section will be looped. You'll reach under and A is so, and C is so thick, it's hard to find where it begins and the other one's in. Oops, you know what? Grab the purple. How did I miss that? Okay, let's try here. Sometimes you just have to reach off to the side and so you know what you're doing. So place that one there. Of course, it would be in my best interest and make me look more professional if I just used colors and bands that I absolutely knew worked. I've already done that color. I don't want to do it again. I want to try something else. So if this doesn't come out perfect, you know the steps. You've seen, the bracelets, how they look nice, and it's all an experiment of learning what the properties of these bands do. Okay, so now you're going to reach under. Now this angle here is always going to be on the top if you followed my order of placement. So you're going to crisscross B color, and then you're always going to reach on the left bottom first and crisscross the bottom of that square. Oh, and hopefully I'll remember to make a little notation at the beginning, because I didn't tell you, but the A color, you want something stretchy, or when you come to that second one, it's just going to bust. I thought it'd be really cool having one of those sweets colors with little sparkles in them, and like the second band I did, this one right here, this instantly snapped. Not even a warning that it was getting taut. It just, you know, busted. So you definitely want good stretch in that. So we very carefully grab C color, bring both of them up. Get your top B colored band. Loose. Sometimes you have to encourage it, or if you pull too hard, you just might break it. It's always hard to try to undo it to a certain point and then, you know, insert. So now you've crisscrossed the B colors on. As I was saying, it's really hard if you bust a band to get it back, especially when it's a really underneath one, which is usually the ones that do bust, right? So yeah, be real gentle with those C's. So one more time. I mean those A's, excuse me. I'm confused. Grab the C's, which are right on top on each side. That's not the C. There you are. And bring them straight up. Take the B color, which is on the top, and in my case it's always this one. Bring it back to its home peg. I'm going to turn down my phone. Hopefully it won't start on me before I get off camera. And then finally we'll reach under, take the A color. You don't want to stretch this too far, because the more you pull from this, the tighter, you know, the less elasticity you have. So just enough to get it over there. And gently work it over there. And I'm telling you, once in a while, especially if you pull this one too far, this one barely makes it. Kind of scary. Alright, so you're just going to continue to do that all the way up to the end. Well, I hope that looping session didn't give any of you a little bit of a heart attack when that second part of the A band over. It's like, I just got my last one. Please don't break. Please don't break. And it didn't break. Yay! Okay. So now to the much simpler looping back extension. Now this to me is where it's much easier when you have your band already laid out for you. Because, you know, when I was just making it that first one, the fourth square, it just leaves this big loop out when I would try to, you know, use one of these. And so I said, oh man, this is one that I have to bring them all at one side. And sure enough, they start slipping all over the place and it looks a mess. So you make sure you reach under, grab just that. And remember, you do have this crissy-crossy thing here, so you've got to get on the inside of that, which is hard because it's so tiny. It's pretty thin, so you don't see it. But you can do it. Do it. So you pull that out. Just kind of hold it with your other finger. I'm sorry, I know my fingernails probably look like they're dirty, but they're not. I made sure to give them a good cleaning before you get whatever that medical thing is going on. I think it's just changing the color of my nails on top of everything else. I just say, as long as it doesn't move to my face. Not the face. Okay, so now we turn the loop, the hook upside down, and try to keep these two loops kind of parallel. So that just makes it much easier. Flip your hook so it's upside up again, and place the other half. And that was the hard one. The rest are much easier. Slip down. Well, it should be much easier, but try that again. Just pull it through those two. Yeah, I open my big mouth and say, oh yeah, now it's easier. There we go. And I look like a fool. No problems. I have 6 kids. I've made a fool of myself for many years now. So I have a smaller wrist, so including the one that was pre-placed, that was the 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do one more. And this one, actually I'm going to do an extra one because these ones, I say that and I hear that everyone say that. I don't think that's proper English. When you have just a, especially these 2-bar designs and you do a lot of, tight looping, it really makes it short. I mean, this is definitely one that if you wanted to put 2, two looms end to end, long way, and add, a few rows to make it longer, wouldn't hurt. So there we have it. Now I'm going to look around for one of my thin crochet hooks on the back end. This one I'm just going to do it to get these first 2 off. And I hope I did this right. Put one off too. Okay. But I did have the strength to pull this off. I'm so interested to see what this is going to look like. And I love it. Yeah, the purple in the middle is a little subdued, but it is still pretty. Oh my gosh. I love it, love it, love it. And the back side, if they come out nice and symmetrical, the pattern the A color, the dark purple makes, is interesting. So there's something to be said about this side. But I like this, and the in stitches, I watch, my mom is just a phenomenal hand, sewing by hand, and I would always watch her do the little hand stitching, and I can remember that stitch, and I can remember this stitch, and I don't know, they just look like several different stitches she did when she was doing stuff by hand. So anyways, let's get on with the rest of the extension. Keeping the arrows pointing towards you, place however many you need for your second half of the band, the extension. Now I start rambling and the words just come popping out of my mouth, whether they are of any use to me or not. Okay. And you saw me just stretch the cap out over that last pin that had a band on it. And now we just have to loop these up. And we are almost done. Okay, just wanted to make sure those bands that were already on there, and just grab the clip. And there you have in stitches. Love it, love it, love it. I really, really like, I'm glad I gave a shot at this two-tone band. I wouldn't recommend, I don't think it would work for either of the other colors. It might be for the B colors, except that on this one, using those thicker bands, I don't know. Sometimes it puts out, you just gotta experiment. What I do when I'm not quite so sure and I don't want to waste a bunch of bands, and when I'm experimenting with the design, I will just, do a little less than like a third of the bar, maybe half, depending how intricate the design is, and then finish it off there. And so I get, just a segment, a half length of a bracelet, and that'll give me an idea of what works, what doesn't. And those bands, I usually toss in a little basket, and as long as they're not too stretched out, those are the ones I play around with and making new designs, or I'd be going through an awful lot, and I'm on a budget, believe it or not. Who isn't, right? So that's one of my tricks in coming up with my designs, is I reuse my, my bracelet, my bands, and I also only do a portion. So that's a really good way to, I'm just kind of rambling so I can get them all in the same direction. And there you have in stitches. If you like this design, be sure to let me know and share it with your friends. And if you'd like to see more of my upcoming designs as they get uploaded, make sure to subscribe to Deb's Thing. Thank you so very much.